So I'm here again, the Affron guy, and now let's talk not about the product itself or its studies, but more something about its pharmacokinetic and how we can formulate some final ingredients and so herbal products with Affron, with the saffron extract. Remember, it's a premium saffron ingredient which is standardized in a complex of compounds which is called lepticrosolites. And it's formed by the combinations of some typical bioactive compounds of saffron, mainly crocin and safranal, that I'm going to explain a little bit later what are these two compounds and how they interact with our body. Okay. So just to remember, so key things that we are going to need now is that the dosage of Affron is 28 milligrams per day. The lowest dosage on the market, actually, for saffron extracts. Everyone uses 30 milligrams. We saw that with 28 milligrams of our saffron extract is enough to induce improvements in mood and sleep and anxiety. And one really important thing that I'm going to explain is it's really fast absorption. In 1 hour, we are able to detect its bioactive compounds in blood, which is something strange for some compounds as the crocins, because crocin is a carotenoid. They are really lipophilic, and mostly all the carotenoids as beta-carotene or lutein are detected in blood after mostly 24 hours after its consumption. So for a carotenoid as crocin that can be detected in blood after 1 hour, it's really fast for some molecule like that one. So now we have to have in mind that the water solubility properties of Affron allows to use it in a lot of different galenic forms, as you might know. In sachets, even if you want to dissolve it in water, it's really easily, or you can take it directly as a hard capsule. And even with some emulsifiers, we can include Affron with an oil in soft gel, which makes it very interesting if you want to combine it with some omega-3 rich oils. So let's find out what happens to the Affron bioactive compounds when we take Affron in blood. Well, there are two mainly compounds in saffron extracts or in normal saffron, which are the crocins and the safranal. The safranal found in the saffron species that we consume, with the typical Spanish dishes as can be the paella, comes from the hydrolysis of a molecule called picocrocin. When we took the same saffron, safranal is not present. It's present the picocrocin. But normally, the saffron stigmas are roasted in order to induce the hydrolysis of that compound under heat conditions. And we obtain the safranal, which is a more lipophilic and volatile compound that gives the typical smell and flavor of saffron. By the other hand, the thing is that safranal is the bioactive compound which is mainly absorbed by the body, while the picocrocin is not absorbed. By the other hand, we have the crocins, which is a small carotenoid, which is binded to sugars in the both extremes. When crocins arrives to the intestines, the beta-glucosidases are able to hydrolyze the crocin and produces its metabolite, which is called the crocitin, which is the carotenoid without the sugars. Is that crocitin, which is the one which is going to be absorbed in the intestine and reach the blood, and the one that induces its healthy effects in the body, as can be the antioxidant effect or its brain effects. So one important thing is what happens when we consume Affron in our body. All of the bioactive compounds arrives to the intestine in order to be absorbed. Are bioaccessible or not? Well, if we take Affron normally, directly, we saw that 60% of the crocins, which is present on there, are completely hydroless, and we lost these levels of compounds when it arrives in the intestines. Particularly in the gastric state, the 50% of crocins are eliminated. So it makes really interesting to use a formula that has a gastric protection state, or a galenic form that protects the Affron from the stomach digestion, in order to ensure the higher levels of bioactive compounds to arrive in the intestines in order to be absorbed. But well, something I have to say is that in our clinical studies, we use a normal tablet without gastric protection, and we saw really positive effects in mood, in anxiety, sleep, and stress. So even knowing that 50% of crocins are going to be hydrolyzed in the stomach, it is going to exert its very positive effect in health. Also, there are some saffron extracts in the market which are standardized in picocrocin, even more than saffron and crocin. But one thing is that you have to know is, or remember, is that the picocrocin is not absorbed and even hydrolyzed in the body. Do you need it in the form of saffronal if you want to take profit of that kind of molecule? So let's see something more about the pharmacokinetics of crocins. If you remember, crocins are hydrolyzed by the beta-glucosidases into its metabolite crocitin. And once we have the crocitin, it's going to cross the intestinal barrier and it's going to reach the blood. We have tested in humans in a single-dose randomized double-blind study with 2 doses of Affron, 56 milligrams and 48 milligrams. And we saw that after 1 hour, more or less, 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, we are reaching the maximum concentrations of crocins in blood, which is really fast to a carotenoid. Comparing another typical food supplements that we can find in the market, as can be the lycopene, beta-carotene, that need even like 24 hours. It's a really fast ingredient to obtain high levels of carotenoids in blood. So here, let's compare 2 things. 1 dose of 28 milligrams of Affron and 2 doses of 40 milligrams of Affron, because if we can detect the crocins after 1 hour, and after 3 hours the levels of crocins are mostly decreased, it will be better to take only 1 dose of 28 milligrams, or it's better to divide the dose in 2 doses of 40 milligrams in order to increase the time that crocins are in blood. Well, if we can compare these curves, we can see 1 dose of 28 milligrams and 2 doses of 40 milligrams. You can have to imagine the levels of crocitin in blood. So the area under the curve that are over the active threshold is mostly the same, we can see. And also in our clinical studies, we have tested both things. We have clinical studies published with 1 unique dose of 28 milligrams and others with 2 doses of 40 milligrams. And we saw that both ways of administrations are even active in order to induce its healthy effects. So it doesn't matter. It depends on which formula do you want to use. You can include 1 dosage of 28 milligrams or the 2 dosage of 40 milligrams if you have, for example, a really big dose because you are using some fatty oils, or do you need to use 2 capsules per day. So knowing that facts related to the bioactive compounds of saffron, let's formulate and see some examples that we can include in the market as a final product for food supplements. Remember that its water solubility and its properties allows to use Affron in different galenic forms, even in gummies, which is really trendy nowadays in the market of food supplements. The recommended daily dose, it can be 1 dose of 28 milligrams per day, or 2 doses of 14 milligrams per day. Now with that, we can have, for example, a galenic form which is a tablet as a final product, related to mood, occasional stress, and anxiety. For that, we can combine the Affron with other ingredients with healthy effects in mood and anxiety, and also with permitted EFSA claims to be included in the final level in the product. We can use a dosage of 28 milligrams of Affron and combine it with small doses of vitamin B12 and zinc, for example. That allows to use some extra claims related to contributes to a normal function of the nervous system, or helps to the sustain of energy, concentration, and whatever. In that day, we can have a posology of 2 tablets per day, for example, and divide the doses of Affron and the other vitamins in 2, taking 1 tablet in the morning and 1 tablet in the evening. For the other side, we can have also a tablet, but in that case related to improve mood and anxiety in menopausal women. In that way, we can combine the dosage of Affron with another vitamin, which in fact is the vitamin B5, which also contributes to the normal levels of different hormones and neurotransmitters. And we can use it, you can combine it with another herbal extracts, as can be the black cohosh. If you remember, Affron in menopause induces its improvement in menopause, more related to the psychological aspects of menopause. So it's really interesting to combine it with other herbal ingredients that induces effects as it can be in the more physical aspects as the hot flashes. So the good thing is that the really low dosage of Affron allows it to be, it allows it to combine it with other ingredients that its doses are really, really much higher. So it's really easy to include it in your final formula. That in that point, the black cohost also has a permitted EFSA claim at 40 milligrams per day to maintain a calm, comfortable air for menopause. So it's a really nice combination in order to use a final product for menopause. Also, we can divide it, the treatment or not, for 1 tablet a day with 28 milligrams of the whole dosage, or 2 tablets with the half of them. Later, due to the increase in the market regarding an increased interest in the final formula, which can be the gummies, it's really interesting, thanks to our study that we have made with teenagers, to have a final product for improving mood and anxiety in this group of people. So making an easier way to take Affron, it's better for teenage or even for us to take one gummy. I think everyone prefers here to take a gummy than a tablet. So we can combine Affron with some vitamins as B3 and vitamin C, which can be perfectly included in the final formula of a gummy, and also have accepted EFSA claims for the final level, and that way having gummies for children. Also, due to the organoleptic properties of saffron, I taste some gummies with Affron, and the truth is that the flavor is really nice. Later, as I said, not only tablets, capsules for sure, it's really easy, you know, for a product related to sleep and reduces stress and promote relaxation. We can combine Affron with a really well-known herbal extract on the market for sleep quality, as can be the valerian root extract with 120 milligrams. It's even lower doses, so it's really easy to have it. And for sure, in that way, it will be an ingredient 100% natural, 100% with plant origin, which is also likely for some customers, final customers. And that way also we have a lot of permitted EFSA claims for the final leveling, and a really good combination for an herbal product related to insomnia. One important thing is the posology. We can take one capsule 1 hour before sleeping, because due to the pharmacokinetic properties of crosins that arrives to the blood after 1 hour, it's really nice to take it 1 hour only before we want to sleep. Also, our clinical studies is made with taking Affron 1 hour before bedtime. For the other thing, making something different, we can make or combine or create a product for sports, for people that makes recreative sport, like going running twice per week, related to their recovery. We can create some sachets of plant-based protein, as can be from pea, for example, and combine it with the dosage of Affron, creating that way some plant-based ingredients. But well, it's really interesting to add some good flavoring, because you know that plant-based proteins have a really bad and strong flavor. So always, not only with Affron, but also add flavorings in order to improve the flavor of that final product. And in that way, we are contributing to the recovery of the muscles with the proteins, and also helping the people that makes sport to fall asleep and get a good sleep recovery. Later, for sure, for cognition. Right now, we don't have any clinical study related to cognition, but more to mood, stress, and anxiety. But due to the mechanisms of action related to the compounds present of Affron, it has effects. It could have very positive effects of cognition. Using some functional emulsifiers, we can include right now the water-soluble Affron in some different oils, as can be the omega-3 oils, for example. And we could combine one algae oil reaching DHA, let's say 20%, with Affron without any problem. And for example, if we use 1 gram of algae oil, which is standardized in 20% of DHA, docosahexaenoic acid, we can also have the accepted EFSA claim for DHA that contributes to a normal brain development. So it's a really good idea not only to have tablets, capsules, or sachets, but also having a soft gel with Affron. And also 1 soft gel per day, it will be enough, because that can be fitted there. And to say another final formulation, more strength, let's say, there's what is called a sachet cap, which in the end is like a normal sachet which is included in the top of the bottle. And when we open the bottle, all the powder of the cap ends into the liquid, and you only have to shake and have the powder there. So thanks to its water solubility, it can be included that way really easily. And in that way, we are avoiding to have an actual liquid with the bioactive compounds dissolved that in the end can induce the deterioration of the degradation of the bioactive compounds. So only having include some vitamins with the EFSA claims accepted for the formulation, and include the dosage of Affron. And in the tap, it's only put it in the bottle, shake, and it will be ready to drink in order to have a mood improvement drink, which is really, really interesting. So yes, based on the different clinical studies that we have, based in the Spanish saffron that we use with the cultural heritage, and thanks to our studies of pharmacokinetics, I hope that for all of you, it wakes up at least a little bit the interest for the herbal extract or for with saffron, and thanks for listening to me. If you have any question, also I will be around here and my colleagues too.
Is it safe to use during pregnancy and lactation?
It's always better to ask to those doctors, because we never say that, yes, it is safe. It has,
sorry to interrupt. I'm asking this as a pharmacist. So.
Yeah, it hasn't been tested yet. I think that it has nothing wrong. I think that it is not going to have any side effect. But yes, always I think if someone wants to use it during pregnancy, ask to a doctor. I don't want to say, yes, use it.